advocate on the interwebs. He's an American that is currently dividing the Democrat Party. All right, CNN on with one hand will condemn him and with another hand will talk to him about Cuba. All right, every single day this dude gets into another controversy because the left is currently eating itself. You have half of the liberals that are on the more liberal side of things. They're like, we want gay rights. We want all forms of degeneracy legalized. Then you have leftists on the other side. They're like, actually, we want to fucking kill you. Actually, we just support terrorists that want to kill you. All right, so this is the two sides of the leftist party right now. And Hassan is a very divisive figure. He is the largest leftist streamer, and he's on the we just want you to fucking die side of things. So he just did a speech in Stanford, all right? And it's embarrassing. He ends it by framing the United States as the bad guy, saying that everyone needs to stand up and fight against the United States, while he's cosplaying as Chairman Mao, the Chinese dictator that massacred tens of millions of people, all right? Like, just understand what we're dealing with, all right? So this is him exposing extremism in the United States.
But that makes your work even more important.
He's talking to his army of socialist retard terrorist supporters.
The Cuban patriot Jose Marti once said of living in the United States that he had...
The Cuban patriot. The Cuban patriot. In other words, the communist.
Lived in the belly of the beast.
Right, so this is him calling the United States the belly of the beast. All right, because we are the great Satan. He literally just aligns himself with Iranian terrorist talking points.
And thus, he knew it well. You all live in the belly of the beast. You know...
The belly of the beast being the United States, and, you know, he has to do his absolute best to overthrow the government and install his weird communist, Islamist, Marxist utopia. Understand what we're dealing with. This guy is openly advocating for a violent revolution.
It well. Use the knowledge to fight it for a better world.
Fight it. He's saying you are in the belly of the beast, aka America. You need to fight it. You need to destroy it. With his little Palestinian flag behind him, which is ironic because there's no such thing as a Palestinian. It really offends people when I say that for some reason, but I don't know why. I don't know who would be offended because it's not like Palestinians would be offended. There's no such thing.
Sound the alarm on techno-fascist danger. Stand up for the poor and the distant.
There is no techno-fascist danger in the United States. There is techno-fascist danger in China, ironically, even though Hassan Piker is allegedly a CCP asset getting paid by the Chinese Communist Party. But there is no techno-fascist danger in the United States. There is in China, though.
Possessed. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Free Palestine. It's like, it's so funny because this has nothing to do with anything. Free Palestine has become a movement basically used to destroy Western civilization. That is what the movement is. None of them actually care about the Palestinians, allegedly, right? None of them care about the so-called Palestinian people that were getting killed in Gaza, and for a very simple reason. Because if they were, they would be against Hamas. The guys that were elected by the Gazans started a war, brutalized Israelis, and Israel tried to obliterate them, and then they used human shields, and then they ended up killing 70,000 people in Gaza. If they actually cared about the Palestinians, they wouldn't be supporting the Hamas terrorists that started the war and caused all their deaths. The reality is they don't care about the Palestinians. They don't care about this movement at all. Free Palestine movement has become a Trojan horse to basically say the West needs to fall because they're bad. And we, the Islamists and communists, are going to work together to destroy you. That's what Free Palestine is. So that is what he is doing in his little Stanford speech. All right, most divisive guy, right? The left is currently at a civil war about this dude because he's, he supports terror and he's one of the largest faces on the left, ironically. All right, so this guy shows up with his dizzyingly retarded level of intellect over here, talking about how the United States is the belly of the beast. Students need to use their position inside of it to fight the system. Techno-fascist danger because I guess Trump is deporting illegal aliens. I don't know why that's techno-fascist. And also Free Palestine, which is a completely irrelevant talking point. So the left is currently at a civil war over him specifically. Ironically, Swan Marcus decided to tweet this, and this is pretty awesome. Extremely underrated Hassan Piker moment. Was when he went on a 5-minute rant about how the streets should run red with the blood of landlords, and 5 days later, everyone found out his mom owns and manages commercial real estate. This dude is an unbelievable hypocrite. All right, this guy also a major Turkish conglomerate, historically engaged in business with Israel, acquiring a 51% stake in an Israeli cybersecurity firm, Radiflow, for $45 million. All right, etc., etc. Like, these people are such hypocrites. It's unbelievable. It's unreal. Their hypocrisy. All right, Hassan Piker, the socialist living in a mansion, right? You know, it's truly insane stuff. Supporting every terrorist organization he could possibly find. And you know, poor guy's having the worst day of his life because just today, Cuba to pardon 2,000 prisoners due to pressure from the United States. Right? So remember, these 2,000 prisoners in Cuba are political prisoners. Cuba is a communist dictatorship. They were literally just imprisoning people for speaking out against the Cuban government, the Cuban communist regime, right? And they were just imprisoning people. And because Donald Trump's pressured them, 2,000 of them are now going to go free, right? So, Hassan claims to care about the Cuban people. He doesn't care about the Cuban people. He just hates America. He claims to care about Palestine. He obviously doesn't care about Palestine because he supports Hamas, the people that caused these tens of thousands of Palestinians to die, all right? But he supports them. So he obviously doesn't care about Palestine. He cares about the West, right? He cares about the destruction of the West. And it's so hilarious and opaque. It's so obvious. Every single group he supports is just anti-West every single time. Fundamentally, in every aspect of his being. It's honestly horrifying. If he actually cared about the Cuban people, he would be singing Trump's praises right now, but he doesn't care about the Cuban people. He just cares about the destruction of the West, and he's going to use Cuba as his little propaganda outlet. He's literally saying, no, you have to let Cuba keep suffering under communism, keep suffering with their blackouts and shit, because that's what the people want. It's not what the people want, and he knows that, but he's using those Cubans as little tools to overthrow Western civilization. That's his entire fucking thing. Now, the funny part is he's trying his best to redeem himself and redeem his reputation because everyone realizes he's just basically a terrorist propaganda mouthpiece and he's probably going to get deported soon. So he went on Philip DeFranco. He went on Philip DeFranco, bro. Philip DeFranco, all right, random leftist YouTuber retard, as his little weird PR tour because CNN just shredded him, like I covered in a video like 2 days ago. So this is just absolute cinema, how transparent it is.
Philip DeFranco interviewing Hassan on his beef with the Democrats. Now, Philly D is unfortunately a Hassan Glazer and politically brain-rotted individual who really tries to come off unbiased and fair, but he ends up just playing defense for him every time.
The reality is anyone that's even remotely decent towards Hassan is not unbiased and fair, because the unbiased and fair position is saying that Hassan supports terrorism. He should be shunned not only from the Democratic Party, but he should be deported and jailed. Anyone that doesn't have that position is, in my opinion, either retarded or evil.
Philly D interviewed Hassan in his recent drama with the Democrats.
Do you think that might be connected? I mean, you have AOC, Ro Khanna, other prominent progressives, right, appearing on your show, people like Bernie Sanders, backing candidates on the campaign alongside you. But when many of them are pressed on specific comments, whether it be about Jews and Israel, most of them won't address those comments directly. Like, do you think that the elected officials who associate with you publicly but won't defend specific things you've said, like, does that stand out to you?
It's because they're immoral douchebags that are just trying to get a little bit of clout from each other, while in the reality know that they're all evil.
I think that's just playing the game. What's your take there?
I think I should never be the conversation. So I think it's totally appropriate for these politics.
I shouldn't be the conversation. Yes, I am a terrorist supporter, and these people are more than happy to hang out with me, but it shouldn't be like a blemish on the reputation or anything.
There's going to be like, guys, there's going to be things that we disagree with, and there are things that we disagree with.
Yeah, like for example, I think that terrorists should kill and rape Jews, as many as possible in Israel, and also Americans too, all right? They don't think that. They want socialized healthcare. You see, we have some political differences. I want the Houthis to blow up Saudi Arabia's oil fields and kill as many civilians as they can. They care about funding school teachers. Which is the political differences, guys. Okay, listen, I shouldn't be the conversation.
No, not on the...
I support the Iranian regime massacring 40,000 of their own people. They don't want us to stop giving money to Ukraine. We just have different political opinions, guys.
Issue of quote-unquote Jews, obviously, but like there are going to be,
obviously, says the guy who supports Hamas, who openly states their goal of genociding all the Jews, who says that if there is a tree or a rock and there is a Jew hiding behind the tree or the rock and the rock should shout out to say, "Oh Muslim, oh servant of Allah, there is a Jew hiding behind me, come and kill the Jew." This is literally in the Hamas charter, all right? And Hassan supports them, just to be clear. Hassan supports the Houthis, whose actual flag states, "Death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews." All right, he supports the Houthis 10 toes down. All right, this guy openly supports them, and he's like, "I don't understand why I get criticism for my positions. They're just polite disagreements."
Differences in opinion. It's
just a difference in opinion.
Healthy. It's normal. It's understandable.
It's so healthy. It's so healthy, guys.
Right. So I think they're just covering their bases by being like, it doesn't matter if we have disagreements. I'm gonna talk to this person. Wow. I think they're just trying to signal it in a way that is like the most appealing to the broadest base. I don't expect politicians to just like run around and defend every clip out of context.
No, they shouldn't. And every single person that associates with you, despite the fact that you have these positions that you support terrorists, I think it should be an impeachable offense on their part.
They're not, they're not my fans, right? These are
obviously not. You support terrorists.
People that I work with. These are people that I want to fight for an agenda, and they are fighting for an agenda, so I support them. And if they stop fighting for an agenda, I will stop supporting them.
Yeah, so he basically just lets Hasan speak uninterrupted for like 15 minutes and no pushback at all.
What an unbiased interviewer, guys.
But yeah, as to Hasan's point there, obviously the politicians can't really be out there openly supporting terrorists. I mean, nowadays, I don't know, in New York, they're fucking chanting their support for that shit, so maybe in some places. But yeah, some of these politicians...
New York supports terrorists. New York. Who's the mayor of New York? New York, you mean? Interesting. Probably a coincidence.
Might actually be secret Hasan supporters, right? They can't really say it publicly, like Zoran and his wife. They seem to agree with Hasan's views, meet with him in private, have these parties, publicly denounce him on TV, and say they don't support Hamas, but then be buddy-buddy with Hasan, who, by proxy, you probably do support his viewpoints. So then Hasan tells the biggest lie ever, that it's not about his feelings.
But at the end of the day, this is an insincere conversation. So I do appreciate any kind of defense, because I understand, or at least they understand, that this battle...
Bro, this guy actually humiliates himself every time he opens his mouth. How do rational people even sit in the same room with him? He's just actually room temperature IQ.
Is
crazy.
For who gets to retain control over the party.
There are
That's right. He's trying to overthrow the current Democrats in control, meaning the libtard idiots who focus on shit like gay rights, and he's trying to replace them with the terrorists. I love how he just actually says it.
Millions of young people who watch you, they align with your politics. They feel deep, completely locked out of the Democratic Party. If Democrats decide that you're radioactive, they cut ties, they keep pushing you, what do you think happens to those voters? Where do they go? What do they do?
I think we just go back to square one, right? I mean, that was how it was in 2016. I don't care if politicians in general are just oh, I don't want to be along. I don't want to.
Meanwhile, Hasan Piker cries every day that people don't want to associate with him. He cries every day. Oh, I can't believe CNN would call me out. I can't believe Zoran Mamdani condemned me on live TV.
I don't want to appear alongside this person. My commentary is not going to change, right? This is not about my own personal feelings.
He might shock his dog out of anger, but it's not about his feelings. He's actually just a fighter for the machine.
Will it signal to me in some ways that they are running scared, which I do think is a big problem?
That's right. Either you support terrorists like Hasan, or you're a pussy.
With even some of our best candidates so far, sometimes I think they are too conciliatory, too conceding to these groups.
Non-terrorists. They concede to non-terrorists a little too much, where they should be killing Jews.
That apply a tremendous amount of pressure.
I've noticed that they aren't burning churches like the based terrorists do in France and in Lebanon. I can't believe it.
By way of both the media and through direct phone conversations that they have with candidates.
They don't even condone Boko Haram massacring Christians in Nigeria. They don't even condone it. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, beyond that, it says nothing to me. I always repeat to my audience as well. I will have disagreements with even someone like Zoran, who I admire, who I love, who, I talk to.
Who condemned you on national television?
With regular frequency, but there's going to be disagreements there, right? But at the end of the day, it's just all about...
You see, the major disagreement between Hasan Piker and Zoran Mamdani, mayor of New York City, is very simple. You see, Hasan Piker openly advocates for terrorism, and Zoran Mamdani only privately advocates for terrorism. So, there's a pretty major difference there.
Putting the policy in the bag, little bro. Just put the policy in the bag. I don't care. We don't have to be friends. It's great. He's a wonderful guy. But we don't have to be friends. As long as you are fighting for the working class, I'll be there. I'll defend you.
Meanwhile, it's the Republicans that have done everything for the working class. All right, he doesn't care about the working class. He cares about the migrant class that wants to leech off of our system. All right, just to understand, he speaks about the working class, but he's literally talking about unemployed retards that refuse to get jobs and want to live off my tax dollars. Those are the people he's actually fighting for.
When you are doing defensible things And if you're doing indefensible things, I'll criticize you.
Oh, who are you kidding, Hassan? This is all about your feelings. All of this is a proxy, all right? Let me tell you the real hard truth here. This is not even about politics. This is all about Hassan's insane narcissism and need to be acknowledged by this world.
I love how everyone knows he's such a fraud.
If Hassan had a button to elect the next Democratic candidate or even socialist communist candidate, if he could make Zoran Mamdani president right now, but in exchange, he would have to stop streaming, Hassan is never taking that trade. He will never take that trade, even though he insists, oh, I'm just doing it for the people. Oh, I
mean, you realize so much, like, criticism to Hassan would stop if he would stop wearing $10,000 shirts.
want to elect a socialist and change the world, right? No, Hassan, we all know what comes first. It's always Hassan Piker. It's me, me, me. I am the best. I want to be known as the #1 political commentator, this educated, smart individual that everybody looks up to, a respected on-the-ground journalist. But instead, I'm just a guy who shocked his dog. And you always will be, Hassan. Or, you know, maybe later.
Hassan Piker, you mean the guy that shocked his dog? Exactly. That's the one.
You can be the streamer who inspired it.
Dude, this PR run of his is just not working, man.
Terrorist attack, the streamer who got arrested. But hey, let's not fast forward to the end just yet, all right? We gotta go through the arcs, right? It's the One Piece saga. We're in like Marineford right now, you know? And it was this entire interview is Philly D basically letting Hassan gaslight his audience, right?
And gas himself up. I'm actually the nicest guy ever. I just want to make change for the working class by letting terrorists rape Jews and British children. I'm a simple man. Fighting for the rights of Islamists to rape people. And they want to deport them. But I fight for them.
No pushback at all. There's no questioning anything Hassan says. Just basically giving Hassan this platform, right?
Hear back from Hassan Piker today. Painting with Slotkin said you sound deeply anti-Semitic. What is your response to elected Democrats calling you a liability?
They're very boomer-minded because they think, like, when I go...
Did he actually react to himself on stream?
Every single comment mentioning your name on the videos, calling you a grifter, tanky, imperialist, some variation of that.
True.
Definitely organic. No, normies are not going to be swayed by that shit.
The normies love him. Your average bro dude just loves Islamic terrorism.
Very clearly was like reading a talking point that was given to her, but maybe she didn't even like fully understand the talking point because she was saying...
That's right. When he was condemned, the person that condemned him didn't even know why she was condemning him. She was just reading a talking point. Her Jewish handler gave her the talking points to condemn him, actually.
The conflation between Jews and Israel is anti-Semitism, is like very anti-Semitic. And it kind of seems like Hassan does that quite a bit. And it's like, no, actually, I do the exact opposite of.
This is just racism talking. Just racism. We disregard your racism.
And it all happened in Clapham, which is in Wandsworth. Sadiq Khan having awarded Wandsworth the title of London's Borough of Culture.
Well, it is true. This is where the foreign cultures go, I guess. Yep.
Wait, what type of culture is this?
I love how leftists are like, rape culture is bad. Now let's import infinite rapists. Like, these people should be jailed. They should literally be put into work camps. I'm not even exaggerating. All right, either deported or in work camps. It's unacceptable. You cannot live in a society like this.
Feral urban nihilism. People had to be locked inside shops for their own safety. Shoppers were very scared. There was one lady with a pram and a baby. She was terrified. But according to leftists, this is just normal school holiday.
I mean, to be fair, this is just the culture of the places they import. I mean, in Somalia, this would be normal. So
quality.
Well, you know, the hunt for the M&S speckled egg cookies has gone a bit too far. I mean, it's the school holidays. You get these stories every time all these kids.
I love how leftists are just like, oh, it's just kids being kids. Oh, so what? A bunch of kids got raped. Kids these days getting raped by 70-year-old Muslims. Oh, this is insane. And no, it's not all Muslims, but it's enough of them to be an issue.
Released
I'm not sure you do.
You do.
This is not a video you see every
Black-clad mobs of hundreds of aggressive feral youths, terrifying ordinary people and causing rampant chaos. Happens every weekend.
This happens every weekend in Soho. There are these like fashion.
Deport them. What do we do? You don't need to live like that. This isn't normal. It's not normal. And they try so hard to try to convince you it's normal.
What? There are these fashion pop-ups, and you should see the scenes. There are these kids in, like, you know, groups of, you know, maybe 80 or 90 of them just rushing up and down Greek and Frith Street and in Soho Square. Like, this isn't new. Kids have always been...
They're stomping on cop cars, breaking their windshields, throwing boulders through windows, all right? They're vandalizing stores. They're stealing things. Oh, what are we talking about? This is not acceptable. Our culture... or Western civilization is based on biblical values. Thou shalt not steal is pretty fucking basic. All right, what are we doing here?
Excuses for degeneracy.
Yeah, doesn't
Correct.
happen where I live in the Cotswolds. Wonder why that is. It does happen in Clapham, where 74% of people under the age of 20 are
Coincidence. It's a coincidence. Disregard reality and substitute it with your own.
Why? Wonder what the difference could possibly be.
Right.
The fact that they think this is a perfectly...
Some retard really is going to say, like, oh, actually, it's different socioeconomic policies. You do realize the socioeconomics are just different. Yeah, all right, dude.
acceptable prosaic part of living in a diverse society. Shows that they're perfectly content to allow parts of the UK to resemble South African levels of low-trust bedlam, while simultaneously somehow championing it all as our greatest strength.
Man, what's going on? What's going on? What happened here? What's going on? What's going on?
Still, so long as Labour MPs can grin like idiots while claiming London is safe, because they can still do silly little dances in the streets.
The liberal white woman, the nucleus of the cancer.
Doesn't that alone prove it safe?
I love how leftist logic is, I'm a woman, and I'm ugly, and I wasn't raped, so therefore, rape just doesn't happen.
It took days for Clapham's MP to even comment on the disorder. Presumably, she thinks a lack of reparations is to blame.
The call for reparations is grounded in international law.
Oh my fucking god, these people need to leave. Hi, we're the third world. We're gonna vote that you have to give us money forever. Sorry, signed, retards.
Racism persists because
God,
has
dude.
never been repaired.
Strange how newspapers
dude, I saw this.
lay out all the faces of those responsible, while leaving one random white person's face crystal clear. They're even claiming that the riots were justified because a relative handful of police made a vain effort to stop them.
Watching black teenagers being racially profiled, detained and searched because they don't want to leave a basketball pitch, and police can't keep their hands on themselves. Racism.
Yeah, trying to prevent criminals from committing crimes is now an act of institutional racism.
Is it a situation where we've seen with sort of like many of the marches recently, where many of these youngsters involved were black youngsters? Are the police still wary of that accusation of racism?
Oh, well, I suspect so.
That is why you have to fucking shut down the whole narrative. Is racism bad? Yeah. Do I care if you call me a racist? No, not at all. Also, is racism even bad, though? Like, let's be honest here. Like, I would say racism is just hating a different race, and I do think that's bad. But discrimination is based as fuck, actually, and you're never going to convince me not. Discrimination is awesome. Discrimination keeps you alive.
Doubt. That's why stop and search figures have plummeted in recent years. It's why police officers tell me on a weekly basis they don't want to do stop and search.
There it is. Police officers afraid to arrest migrants, or because, you know, they'll be called racist, and that's so bad.
Because they're afraid of an accusation.
It's fucking awful. It's literally just tying their hands up, not letting them do anything.
Of racism.
What a nightmare.
Which could blight or even end their career.
The scenes are the latest in a trend in which large groups of teenagers run riot through shops and high streets. Last month, footage showed hooded teenagers running through the streets of Wolverhampton, hurling eggs at buses and pedestrians.
Dude, how is this acceptable? Like, how is this even remotely acceptable? And then the police are scared to do anything because the retard Eurocucks are going to call them racist.
It's also happening in Birmingham. With the chaos now spreading to other parts of London.
Yes, who's live you're watching?
A former Met Police detective warned that this is all an ominous indication that major UK cities could see mass rioting and looting this summer.
Well, if we look back over recent years, we've had these trends of large groups of young people going into shops, often shoplifting. You might remember the trend that was called stealing from some years ago. And this is a recurring thing. But there's deeper concerns.
You know it would stop if you just jailed like a couple hundred of them, right? You know, like if you just took a couple hundred of them and put them in a work camp, it would solve it. You know, it would really solve the issue immediately. These people are just gigantic pussies.
About this recent activity, because I think the pathetically low number of arrests that have been made just shows that there's not enough police officers on the street to deal with these.
And they're not willing. They're not willing. They're putting the career in jeopardy because they're arresting someone that they'll be called racist for.
Incidents. And as history has taught us, if you empower people who are getting up to criminal behaviour, their behaviour will only get worse.
Obviously.
It will only be repeated. And my concerns are, if this isn't nipped in the bud, we're soon going to see a repeat of the dreadful rioting of 2011.
This week it was revealed that police failed to solve 92% of burglaries across the country.
Oh my God, dude. It's a nightmare. Anarchy. Right, dude, this is why you need law and order. You need a country to actually have laws. England is fucking killing itself here.
92%. Across a third of neighbourhoods in England and Wales, not a single break-in was solved. Fewer than 1 in 100 mobile phone thefts led to a suspect being charged. Meanwhile, thousands of people across the country every single year are still being charged for offensive social media posts.
Wow, dude, it's just so radicalizing. They actually fucking hate us. They hate us so badly. This is why the soft on crime shit doesn't work. Quite literally. They need work camps for all these people. They need to take 100, 200 of these guys, put them in a work camp. All right, make them work for 2-3 months in a work camp. Just 2-3 months. You know, repay the damage that they've done to the state. And then this will all stop very quickly. And people will cry, and people will scream racism, people will say slavery, and you know what you're gonna say? You're gonna say, I don't give a fuck. And it completely shuts down the narrative. This is why you just have to fucking not care.
Starting to learn that. No more being,
Welcome to a brand new hour of Fox News Live. I'm Aisha Hasni in Washington. Pope Leo XIV marking his first Good Friday Mass as pontiff ahead of tomorrow's Mass from St. Peter's Square as Christians around the world are celebrating Holy Week. Coming up this hour, I will speak live with Franklin Graham on his Easter message to America and to the world. But first, a Fox News alert. President Trump is in Washington this holiday weekend as the administration monitors the search for the airman who is still missing after a U.S. fighter jet was shot down in Iran this Friday. And it comes as reports say that Trump is saying that the downing of this jet will not affect negotiations with Iran as the conflict goes on. So let's bring in now Alex Hogan. She is live for us with her first hit from the White House. You normally see Alex from our Foreign Bureau in London. She is now joining us here in the Washington Bureau. A big welcome to you, Alex.
Hi, Aisha. Thank you so much. And it is great to be with you and great to be back stateside. But right now, what we are following is this ongoing search for this U.S. service member. That search continues after Iran yesterday shot down this F-15E. U.S. troops were able to rescue that pilot. But this is the first time since 2003 that an American warplane has been shot down over enemy territory. Yesterday, a second U.S. warplane was also hit by enemy fire. U.S. officials say that the pilot was rescued after ejecting over the Persian Gulf. With the war today entering its 6th week, President Trump warning Iran about his approaching April 6th deadline to open up the Strait of Hormuz, posting this: time is running out 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. President Trump released his 2027 budget blueprint yesterday, which includes boosting defense spending by $1.5 trillion, about 40%. It would cut non-defense spending by $73 billion, or 10%.
How do we not have the money to feed kids or to make healthcare more affordable, yet we have the money to continue this war?
The White House says that the defense spending is needed to meet the current national defense needs, although some Republicans argue that this increase in defense spending could face its own hurdles.
The president's going to have to make a strong case to increase spending by that dollar amount in order for us to move forward.
President Trump is here this holiday weekend, although we do not expect to see him today. Aisha.
Okay.
I like Trump, but I don't like Fox News. Definitely don't like the other ones. I get more actual accurate information from independent media, or more than I trust you guys more than anything. You can trust me. I have no ads. I have no followers. I'm a nobody. Nobody. I can say whatever I want. For now. Oh crap, that's gay. No. Yes. I don't know how they got me into that one. California raids. Yeah, I know, the hospice. That sucks. We knew about that shit back in the late 90s. It's like, why are these guys coming to the 99-cent market or store and they all have $100,000 vehicles? What the fuck? Actually, at the time, it was like maybe in the 50, 60. That's when, shoot, M3 was only $43,000. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was when I was actually old enough to drive. No, I did not have a M anything at the time. I had like a 1985 318i stick shift, 5-speed. Love that thing. So, that thing was a beast with all its 135 horsepower. There was no, what do you call it? Was it plastic bumpers or fiberglass? None of that shit. It was all double-walled steel. So it was heavy. You know, for a little coupe like that. I loved it, though. What else?
Houston, from Inside Integrity, we are ready for the event.
NBC News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Integrity for a voice check.
Integrity, this is Tom Costello with NBC News. Are you hearing us okay?
Hey, Tom, it's great to hear your voice all the way up here, 155,000 nautical miles from Earth. How are you doing?
I'm well. Congratulations on your mission so far. I'm told this is the farthest interview ever conducted in history, and I'm wondering, how does it feel right now to be in a place that nobody has been since 1972?
Honestly, it is unbelievable that we in 1972, just being up here and seeing how difficult this is and how hard the team is working. We do have a little bit of echo on your call. We'll try to turn it down when we're answering, but this is a magnificent accomplishment to be up here, to see the moon, to see the Earth, and to know that we are between those two celestial bodies, and you can see it when you look out the window. The Earth is almost in full eclipse, the moon is almost in full daylight, and the only way you could get that view is to be halfway between the two entities. It is truly awe-inspiring up here.
The images you guys have sent back are absolutely spectacular, and when you look at the moon that you're headed for and that gets closer and closer, what are your thoughts?
Well, last night we did have our first view of the moon far side, and it was just absolutely spectacular. I think that one of the interesting things that happens when you look at a moon that inherently just looks different is like the darker parts just aren't quite in the right place, and something about you senses that is not the moon that I'm used to seeing. And sure enough, we got out our lunar targeting information, and we matched up, and we're like, yeah, that is the dark side. That is something we have never seen before. We must be, no kidding, like Reed said, somewhere between the Earth and the moon, getting a view from a different place and putting up something that has meant so much to so many cultures, scientifically, spiritually, culturally, for so long, seeing it in a different way, and just pairing that with how much we miss and love our families and knowing that they're looking up and seeing the same moon, it's a pretty amazing feeling.
And when you look back at Earth, you've sent these breathtaking images, and it's Easter weekend, of course. What are your emotions as you look back at Mother Earth?
Well, before I list off a couple emotions, there's been a lot of disbelief up here. Just the fact that what we're seeing, where we are, it's hard to wrap your mind around. Like, I mean that sincerely. It really bends your mind. And the emotions that come along with that, there's a lot of happiness. Just to have experienced these unique things just brings you joy as a human. We're explorers at heart as human beings, and we really feel like we're exploring out here, and it brings a lot of excitement. And then, you know, right away you are humbled. The fact that 4 of us get to be out here just brings you to your knees. The thought that we get this experience, we're doing our best to show it with the camera, but you can't do it. I know those photos are amazing, but let me assure you, it is another level of amazing up here. And there's a lot of gratitude for the teams of people that made this possible. And then the final emotion is hope for humanity's future, that we can do this right now means we could do so much more.
You guys are a long way from home. You may not realize you become superstars, rock stars while you've been gone. And I'm wondering, you've been able to talk to your families. How are they doing with you so far from home?
Well, just from what I overheard from some of the conferences and then what I enjoyed watching with my family, I think there's a lot going on. It's been interesting to hear what they have witnessed on the news and in social media, but also their launch experience. I got to hear the first story that they saw, what they felt and what they were thinking, and then what they wanted to know from me. And so the family conferences were great. It was so awesome to hear people talking to their families and then to speak with my family. And there's a lot, and I'm actually still processing. Mine was just about an hour ago, and I have a lot to go write down in my journal.
And I just want to tag on. I had my family conference right before Victor, so we had ours today. Christina and Jeremy had theirs yesterday, and I was just so jealous of them yesterday. I was so happy for them, but I was so jealous. And then this morning when my 2 daughters came on, and it was just the 3 of us talking, it was surreal. Just, we're up here, we're so far away, and for a moment, I was reunited with my little family, and it was just the greatest moment of my entire life.
I'm just curious, you guys. You have all been dreaming of this moment for so long. Can you sleep in space when you are finally at this moment that you've been so excited about and working for so long?
Well, we do love sleeping up here, and such a long initial day that I think our bodies are ready to sleep no matter what. Most of us have been sleeping really well. For me, sleeping in space is one of the most comfortable ways to sleep, and it's very deep sleep, very full sleep. Sometimes when you first get up here, you have a little bit of a sensation that something's wrong. As soon as you wake up, maybe you're falling or you don't recognize your surroundings, but it's great. I mean, honestly, being human up here is one of the coolest things about this mission. We are just people trying to get by. And for example, we might go look at the far side of the moon and take in its awesomeness and then go, maybe I should change my socks and try to dig around for a pair of socks. So this is the dichotomy of human spaceflight.
How will you describe this moment to your families, your grandkids, many years from now?
You kind of left me speechless with that. I think, you know, it is weird when you're the 4 humans doing this. We're not doing this for reasons. Jeremy's answer was great. Like, if we can unite the world, that's awesome. But we're just the lucky 4 that got to be on this mission. We were in the right place at the right time with our international team, and we're up here doing this. I don't think any of us have really thought about legacy or any of that sort of thing. I do think it would be really neat someday if I can sit around with my grandkids, or maybe Ike's grandkids, or Christina's, or Jeremy's, or, you know, somebody somewhere, and tell stories of these times up here, because some of them are going to be unbelievable. There's beauty, but there's human elements too, and I just think it'd be fun to share in this human adventure. The key part of human exploration is the human, and coming back and sharing the story, and we're going to try our hardest with every single person on planet Earth.
So listen, Al Roker is awfully upset that he couldn't be here. Any messages to Al Roker and the Today Show family? They are watching every moment of this.
So yes, I just try to stay away from absolutes. It
I've said this before. I don't know if anyone's ever quoted me or if I got this from.
And it'll be great to call in.
I've said this before. I don't know if anyone's ever quoted me or if I got this from somewhere. I can't remember. But women want all the power of man, but none of the responsibility. They want the power of man and none of the responsibility. You can't have power without the responsibility. Men, however, have no power and still retain the responsibility. You look at power management and construction, you look at a lot of the sciences, you look at all these things that require your life to be on the line, that require hard work, long hours, physical labor. All these things, you know, like infrastructure, for example, it's still all men. And these men have no power. Nothing. Their jobs aren't respected in today's hypergamous society. Women don't give a fuck. Hello, yes, my name is Daniel, and I'm responsible for making sure that there's not flakes of poo in your drinking water. Not enough. What, so you're not like a high-power businessman or anything? It's not a cool job. If you think this isn't happening, it is happening. And the more hypergamous society becomes, the smaller the pool of women these men get to choose from. They view a white-collar job as high status, right? Because being a laborer of any kind means that you're not qualified enough or smart enough or more or respected enough to do a job where you don't actually have to do anything. No chicks bragging that the guy they're seeing, he's a manager at the sewage plant. No chicks bragging about that. She don't care. This guy I'm seeing has a corner office. He's a fucking asshole. He does nothing all day, but he's got loads of money, wears a suit. Oh my god, Cindy, you have to introduce him to us, and we will try to steal him because there's absolutely no loyalty amongst women, and we're all hypergamous, and we will try to get the guy that you have because we don't care about you, Cindy. Cindy, we don't care about you, bitch. You have to introduce your man. What's his number? I've said this before. I don't know if anyone's ever quoted me or if I got this from somewhere. I can't remember, but women want all the power of man, but none of the responsibility. They want the power of man and none of the responsibility. You can't have power with
These things are incredibly, ridiculously complicated for no reason. I think what happened is, this is a black idiot, and I think jurors were afraid to be as punitive as they could against a black man. The anti-police rhetoric has gotten to a perpetual state of tainting the juries.
After some confusion at the courthouse, a split verdict tonight against the man responsible for the death of hero NYPD Detective Jonathan Diller. Guy Rivera was found not guilty of the most serious first-degree murder charge.
I am deeply disappointed that the top murder charge did not result in a conviction. The failure to convict on murder one landed like a gut punch to all members of the NYPD.
21 times arrested, this thug, and the person in the car with him was arrested many times.
Shout out to Verdict, best bourbon in the game. Give it a try. Don't believe me, look at the reviews. We already in multiple restaurants. We split verdict in New York. Obviously, the police were upset. The family of Mr. Diller was upset because they had a split verdict. They could not find the suspect, who's a brazen criminal, 21 arrests. They could not find him guilty of first-degree murder. Now, as a police officer that did investigations, I know about charging, I did the research on this thing, I'm going to articulate to you clearly both perspectives. The first perspective is why they came to the conclusion. The second perspective is why I think they got the conclusion wrong because of the convictions that they got him on. You can't convict a guy of this and then not convict him of that, in my personal opinion. But let's get to the news clip. Roll it.
After some confusion at the courthouse, a split verdict tonight against the man responsible for the death of hero NYPD Detective Jonathan Diller. Guy Rivera was found not guilty of the most serious first-degree murder charge, but the jury says he's guilty of all the other counts, including aggravated manslaughter and attempted murder. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon with what the confusion was all about.
Whether Guy Rivera intended to point his gun and fire it at Detective Jonathan Diller when he refused orders to get out of a car and Diller's partner reached into it became the central argument of the case. The jury found 36-year-old Rivera not guilty of first-degree murder. The reaction from Diller's wife, family, and fellow officers who spent more than 3 weeks hearing excruciating evidence and testimony.
Shocked and devastated. There is no doubt, the facts were there.
But the jury found Rivera guilty of aggravated manslaughter for shooting Diller in March 2024 in Far Rockaway, and the attempted murder of Diller's partner for what he did with the gun after shooting Diller.
He pushed it right against Sergeant Rosen's chest, and he tried pulling the trigger. It's a miracle that Sergeant Rosen is still here with us, and thankfully, the gun jammed.
That attempted murder charge actually carries the longest potential sentence of the 4 counts the jury convicted him of after deliberating a full day.
I stand here today proud of that verdict. Guy Rivera will face at a maximum of 90 years to life as a sentence for all of the crimes that he was convicted of today.
When that mixed verdict was first announced, it was emotional enough for Diller's family and fellow cops. But there was something else that stunned the court that was unusual. When the judge polled the jury, one juror indicated that was not his verdict. The judge asked the jury to go back and deliberate. They returned 2 hours later with the same verdict. This time it was unanimous.
We are grateful that he's going to spend the rest of his life behind bars. We're grateful for the DA and her entire team, but it hurts.
All right, so let's go through the charges real quick because a lot of people will probably be confused by these charges, especially if you don't do this for a living. It can be very confusing because different states have different charges for first-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated manslaughter, all of these different things. So let's go through the first one. Obviously, we know first-degree murder is premeditated murder, right? So in this incident, let's put it up on the screen just real quick before we play it. In this incident, if the guy intends to, that means that even in a split second, he make the decision and I'm going to pull a gun out and shoot somebody, that is enough for premeditation, right? Even if it takes 2 seconds, that can establish premeditation. You pull the gun and you shoot an officer, that is first-degree murder. Now, the footage that we have right here is grainy. You cannot tell what happened whatsoever. I'm assuming that there's body-worn camera footage and that the jurors were able to see more than we're able to see right now, which could be why they made a conclusion that went a certain way. Now, this is the risk factor of having a court system the way we do, where you are being evaluated or the case is being evaluated by your peers, because some people are retarded and not everybody can figure this out. Now, not saying that that's the case in these jurors, but I'm saying that's the case that you run into when you go to court, because some people who are not trained professionals, who do not understand the law, who are subject to peer pressure, right? If you are the only one holding out, which we heard them say before, that there was one jury said, that's not my verdict. They go back and then they're unanimous. Sometimes what happens is if somebody is not very strong-minded and they feel as if they're alienating or they can get the case thrown out because it's a hung jury, they may capitulate. That's the scary part of some of these things. So first-degree murder, they said he did not do. That means that they made a determination that he did not intend to shoot the police officer, which goes to the second charge, which he was found guilty of, is aggravated manslaughter. Now, aggravated manslaughter in this case is somebody who's reckless, negligent, and does not show any value for life, which means that he did not show any duty, concern at the poor behavior that he was exhibiting, which led to a shooting of the officer who lost his life. This is what they found him guilty on. Then they found him guilty on another charge of attempted murder, which is where it gets crazy at. Because how do you find a man not guilty of murdering a guy or murdering a police officer, a detective, an honorable man of the New York Police Department, but then you find him guilty of attempted murder? And in this case, the way they articulate the attempted murder is that after he shot and killed the detective, he then pulled a gun and attempted to shoot and kill another officer, but the gun jammed. So they determined that the second altercation was an attempted murder. He pointed the gun at the chest of another officer or detective, and he pulled the trigger. So how do you find that he didn't mean to shoot and kill the first person he killed, but yet he had intent to pull the trigger and kill the second person? If the guy is hell-bent on murdering somebody, his behavior will be consistent with what he did in both situations. Somehow they found him guilty of attempted murder on another responding police officer, which they're all kind of in the same area. And then possession of a weapon, right? He was in possession, I believe, illegally of a firearm. He had it staged in the car. All of those things made him illegally in possession. And let's see, I think I missed a charge here. criminal possession of a firearm, and then there was criminal possession of a weapon. So let me read these off to you. No, it's the same one. That's the same charge. Attempted murder, criminal possession of a weapon, and it just continues on to my second page. That's what it is. Criminal possession of a weapon. Let me read this out to you. Criminal possession of a weapon is simply possession of a loaded firearm, intent to use it unlawfully against another person. So they find him guilty of being in possession of a firearm with the intent to unlawfully use it. So if he's in possession, he's unlawfully using a gun. How is his unlawful use of the gun not unlawful in the murder, but then they determine it's unlawful in the attempted murder? These things are incredibly, ridiculously complicated for no reason. I think what happened is this is a black idiot, and I think jurors were afraid to be as punitive as they could against a black man. That's the anti-police rhetoric has gotten to a perpetual state of tainting the juries. It's in a perpetual state. That means that the average person is going into a situation with a bias against law enforcement and somehow feeling sorry for a suspect. One reason is because he's black. Because in their mind, the black man is always targeted for no reason. It's a traffic stop that should have never happened because he's a black man. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. I wasn't a part of the jury pool. I didn't listen to the jurors' deliberation. But what I can say is this makes no sense whatsoever. Now, the caveat of it is that he may spend the rest of his life in prison. But also, if you're not found for the first charge of first-degree murder, then there's eligibility of parole. So if you're found first-degree murder, they can eliminate your eligibility of parole, give you life in prison with no possibility of parole. But when you're not found with the first-degree murder charge and you're found with those lesser charges, they can give you 90 years in prison. They can run it up and do whatever they want. But he could be eligible for parole in 30 years. That's the risk factor that we're running up against when it comes to the poor charging. And this is why the prosecution and law enforcement and the family are so upset about this, and I think rightfully so. Let's watch the footage real quick. You can hardly see anything, but just look at it. The circle is the incident. If you look at the back of the vehicle, to the right of the back of the vehicle, where you see the black image, it seems like
playing video games and stuff and also figure out how to do this editing thing. This is a good take 4, 3, 4, I don't know. So, again, stay safe, keep your head on a swivel. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. But if you like it, give me a like, subscription, stuff like that. Until I think it was, until you get 1,000 subscribers, you don't get paid for this stuff anyway. It's all just for fun and just kind of learning the ropes of this thing. Been watching it for a while, but wanted to give it a try. Wanted to get in on the mix. Plus, it's a great tax write-off. So, something to keep in mind. That's why on our taxes, we just did them. And we did everything above board. Nothing was like weird or anything like that. And we ended up paying, I think, $1,000 altogether, federal and state put together. We got back from state, and they took a lot off. If it wasn't for a lot of the stuff that we took off, that's why you don't go to TurboTax or any of this kind of shit. You pay the extra. It was $300 for it. It's not what you're gonna pay at Hewer or whatever. All those other tax places that are just revolving doors. Stay away from those. Let other people who have plenty of experience help you. It is worth it. It saved us just by paying $300 this time. It saves us usually about $10,000 to $15,000 every time. So just keep that in mind, boys and girls. Keep that in mind. Just don't be like these scammers, though, because you might get away with it once, but eventually Uncle Sam's gonna hunt you down. That's the one person you been advice. Godspeed to all. Have a wonderful day, and love you guys. Who I give love where people give love. So I'm trying to give love first,